The air bit into my lungs like a rabid dog as I trudged through the woods, shotgun slung over my shoulder, boots crunching on frost that glittered like shattered glass under the weak winter sun. It was midwinter in northern Michigan, the kind of cold that doesn't just chill you, it claws at your soul, whispering promises of frostbite and forgotten graves. The ground was a slab of iron beneath a thin dusting of snow, the trees skeletal sentinels stripped bare by the season's cruelty. I'd been out here for hours, chasing pheasants that had apparently decided I wasn't worth their time. Typical. Just me, my gun, and a forest that seemed to resent my every step. I'd done solo survival trips before. Hell, I thrived on them. There's something primal about pitting yourself against nature, feeling the weight of your own existence without the crutch of civilization. But this trip, this one was different from the jump. The air had a weight to it, a dry, brittle cold that sucked the moisture from my throat and left my lips cracked and bleeding. I could taste the metallic tang of my own chapped skin every time I licked them. A little preview of the suffering to come, I guess. Dark humor's my shield, folks. If I don't laugh at the absurdity of my own misery, I'd probably cry or scream. And trust me, screaming out here? Bad idea. After hours of wandering, the trees started to thin out, their gnarled branches parting like a curtain to reveal a valley I hadn't planned on finding. It stretched out before me, a narrow ravine slicing through the earth like a wound that never healed. A faint trail snaked its way down the steep slope, cutting through the frost and leading to a clearing on the far side. The day was bleeding into dusk, the sky bruising purple and orange, and I didn't relish the idea of circling around this thing in the dark. The slope looked manageable, steep, sure, but I'd tackled worse. Why the hell not? I muttered to myself, my voice swallowed by the stillness. Famous last words, right? I started down, boots digging into the icy crust, each step a calculated risk. The crunch of frost underfoot was deafening in the silence, a sound so sharp it felt like it could cut glass. My breath puffed out in ragged clouds, curling upward before dissipating into the growing shadows. The ravine walls loomed higher with every step, jagged rock faces draped in patches of snow that clung like fungal growths. The trees closed in overhead, their branches interlocking into a canopy that blotted out the last scraps of daylight. It was slow going, slower than I'd expected, and the cold sank deeper into my bones, a dull ache that pulsed with every heartbeat. But it wasn't just the cold gnawing at me. Something else was off, a prickling at the base of my skull, that ancient instinct that screams you're not alone even when your eyes swear you are. And then I saw him. He stood 50 yards ahead, a silhouette carved from the gloom, motionless as a gravestone. My heart slammed against my ribs, a frantic rhythm that drowned out the crunch of my boots. He was tall, gaunt, a scarecrow stitched together from rags and desperation. In his hands, cradled like a lover, was a civilian AR-15, its barrel glinting faintly in the dying light. I froze, my breath catching in my throat, a plume of vapor hanging in the air like a ghost. This wasn't a hunter. Hunters don't stand like that, stock still, waiting, watching. His clothes were a patchwork of filth, layers of mismatched jackets and pants that hung off his skeletal frame like shedding skin. His face, God, his face, was a hollow mask, cheeks sunken, lips cracked and bloodless. And those eyes were black pits, twin voids that locked onto me with a hunger I couldn't name. My brain screamed run, but my legs were rooted to the spot, heavy as lead. The shotgun on my shoulder felt like a lifeline slipping through my fingers. the strap shifting ever so slightly as my muscles tensed. I could feel it, the dread, thick and suffocating, coiling around my chest. If that gun slipped, if he thought I was reaching for it, I was done. One twitch, and those dark eyes might decide I wasn't worth the risk of letting live. I forced my hands to move, slow as molasses, adjusting the strap with deliberate care. No sudden moves, no threats. Just a guy trying not to die in a ravine he had no business being in. He didn't budge, didn't blink. The air grew heavier, pressing down on me like a physical weight. The silence so absolute I could hear the faint whistle of my own breath. I wanted to speak, to break the tension with some dumb quip. "Nice gun, buddy. You come here often." But my mouth was a desert, tongue glued to the roof. Instead, I took a step back, then another. Each crunch of frost under my boots was a gunshot in the stillness, a plea for him to let me go. His head tilted slightly, tracking me, those eyes never wavering. I didn't run. Running would have been suicide. I just kept backing away, slow and steady, until the trail curved and the ravine wall hid him from view. The second he was gone, the cold seemed to lift, the world snapping back into focus. My legs burned as I hauled ass out of that valley, adrenaline pumping so hard I could taste it, bitter, metallic, alive. I didn't stop until I was miles away, collapsing beside a pitiful fire I managed to coax from damp twigs and sheer stubbornness. That night, staring into the flickering flames, I couldn't shake him. Who the hell was he? Deer season was closed. AR-15s aren't legal for hunting here. He didn't look like a camper, a hiker, or anything human that belonged in these woods. He looked like something the forest had spat out, a remnant of a world that didn't want him, or me. I drove to town the next morning, reported it to the sheriff. He nodded, scribbled some notes, said they'd check it out. Weeks passed, nothing. No follow-up, no news, just silence. I haven't gone back to that valley. I tell myself it's because I'm smart, not scared. But every time the wind howls through the trees outside my window, I feel those eyes on me, watching, waiting. And I wonder if he's still down there standing in the dark, holding that gun like a promise. I didn't sleep last night. Not really. The fire kept me warm, but it couldn't burn away the unease festering in my gut. Every snap of a branch, every rustle of leaves had me jerking upright, clutching my shotgun like a kid with a teddy bear. Pathetic, right? Mr. Solo Survival, reduced to a paranoid wreck because of some creepy guy in a ravine. But it wasn't just him. It was the feeling. That valley wasn't empty. I'd bet my left lung something else was down there with him, lurking just beyond the shadows. I packed up at dawn, the sky a sickly grey that matched my mood. The drive to town was a blur, dirt roads, skeletal trees, the occasional deer darting across my path, like it knew something I didn't. The sheriff's office was a squat brick building, the kind of place that smells like stale coffee and regret. Sheriff Daniels listened to my story, his bushy brows furrowing deeper with every word. AR-15, huh? He grunted, tapping his pen against a notepad. We'll send someone out, probably just a drifter. Happens sometimes. His tone said he didn't believe me, or didn't care. I left feeling like I'd just confessed to seeing Bigfoot. Back home, I tried to shake it off. Hot shower, cold beer, the works. But the second I closed my eyes, he was there, standing in my mind's eye, that AR-15 gleaming like a reaper's scythe. I started digging online, local forums, hunter groups, anything that might explain what I'd seen. Found a thread on some backwoods Reddit knockoff. Weird shit in the Upper Peninsula. Most of it was garbage, UFOs, ghost deer, the usual. But one post caught my eye. A guy claiming he'd seen the Raggedy Man near that same valley 2 winters back. Gaunt, filthy, armed to the teeth. Said he'd heard whispers in the trees that night, voices that weren't human. The thread died after that. No replies. Just a digital gravestone, whispers. I hadn't heard anything down there, had I? I replayed it in my head. The crunch of my boots, the hiss of my breath, the silence so thick it felt alive. Maybe I'd missed it. Maybe I didn't want to hear it. Because if I had, I'd have to admit something was seriously wrong with that place. Something older than me, than him, than the damn forest itself. Home's supposed to feel safe, right? Warm lights, locked doors, the hum of the heater kicking on to chase away the winter chill. Bullshit. I've been back 2 days, and my little cabin feels like a cage. One I'm sharing with something I can't see. It started small. A creak in the floorboards I chalked up to the house settling. A shadow flicking past the window I blamed on the wind tossing branches around. But last night I heard it. A low rasping scrape, like fingernails dragging across wood, coming from the back porch. I grabbed my shotgun, old habits die hard, and flipped on the floodlights. Nothing, just snow swirling in the beam, mocking me with its emptiness. I should have left it alone. Should have crawled back to bed and drowned the paranoia in cheap whiskey. But I'm an idiot, so I pulled on my boots and stepped outside. The cold hit me like a slap, sharp and bitter, the kind that makes your teeth ache. My breath fogged the air, thick and white, as I scanned the yard. The snow was pristine, a perfect blanket, except for one spot. Near the edge of the porch, where the light barely reached, there was a single footprint. Not a boot print, not even close. It was bare, human-shaped, toes splayed wide like something that hadn't worn shoes in years. The edges were crisp, fresh. Whatever made it had been there seconds ago. I stood there, shotgun trembling in my hands, the barrel frosting over from my breath. The forest beyond my yard was a wall of black, the kind of dark that swallows sound and spits out fear. I called out, because apparently I'm a walking horror movie cliché. Who's there? My voice cracked, pathetic and small, eaten up by the night. No answer. Just that damn wind howling like it was laughing at me. I backed inside, locked the door, and shoved the chair under the knob for good measure. Sleep. Not happening. I spent the night on the couch, gun across my lap, jumping at every creak. Morning brought no relief. The footprint was gone, smoothed over by fresh snow like it had never existed. Gaslighting by Mother Nature, cute. But I wasn't imagining it. I know what I saw, and I know it's tied to that valley, to him, the Raggedy Man, as that forum post called him. I dove back online, scouring every sketchy corner of the internet for more. Found another hit, a hunter's blog from 2022, some guy named Rick Tanner. He'd been up near that ravine during a late season trip, said he'd found a deer carcass, gutted and strung up in a tree, but not by any method he recognized. The cuts were sloppy, jagged, like something had torn into it with bare hands. 100 yards away, he'd seen a figure watching him. Tall, thin, dressed in rags. He didn't stick around to say hi. Smart guy. Rick's last post was 6 months later. Heading back to the UP for one last hunt, he wrote, "Something's calling me." That was it. No updates since. His blog's a ghost town now. Comments disabled, links dead. I stared at that line. Something's calling me. Until my eyes burned. Was it calling me too? That itch in my skull, that pull to go back. Or was I just losing it? Either way, I wasn't sleeping tonight. Not with that footprint burned into my brain. I needed answers. Sitting here, jumping at shadows, wasn't cutting it. So I did something stupid. Because of course I did. I called up my old hunting buddy Jake. He's a big guy, ex-Marine. The kind of dude who'd punch a bear in the face and then apologize for messing up its fur. If anyone could keep me sane or alive, it was him. I told him everything. The valley, the raggedy man, the footprint. He laughed at first. That deep, gravelly chuckle of his. You're full of shit, man. Too many horror podcasts rotting your brain. But when I didn't laugh back, went quiet. You serious? He asked. I was, dead serious. All right, he said after a long pause. I'm in. But if we die out there, I'm haunting your ass first. Dark humor, his specialty. We agreed to head back to the valley tomorrow. Just a quick recon in and out before dark. I'd bring the shotgun. He'd bring his .45 and enough bravado to choke a Wendigo. The plan was simple. Find evidence, tracks, gear, anything to prove I wasn't crazy. Then report it to someone who'd actually do something. Simple, right? Yeah, I didn't believe it either. That night, I set a trap. Call it paranoia, call it a hunch. I don't care. I rigged up an old trail cam on the porch, aimed at where that footprint had been. Motion activated, night vision, the works. If something was stalking me, I'd catch it. I double-checked the locks, loaded the shotgun, and tried to sleep. Didn't work. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those black pits staring back at me, unblinking, endless. Around 2 a.m., I gave up and checked the cam's live feed on my phone. Static, just snow and trees. I was about to call it a night when the screen flickered, and there it was, a shape. Blurry, hunched, moving slow across the frame. Too tall to be an animal, too thin to be Jake playing a prank. It stopped, turned its head toward the camera, and I swear to God, those eyes glowed, 2 pinpricks of light in the dark. My stomach dropped, the feed cut out. I bolted to the window, heart hammering, but the yard was empty again. I yanked the SD card from the cam when dawn broke. The footage was there, 10 seconds of grainy hell. That thing, whatever it was, knew I was watching, and it didn't care. Jake showed up at noon, truck rumbling like a beast ready to chew up the miles. He stepped out, all 6'3" of him, decked in camo and a smirk. You look like shit, he said, clapping me on the shoulder. Thanks, I muttered. It's the new me. I showed him the footage. His smirk vanished. What the fuck is that? He growled, rewinding it twice. That's why we're going back, I said, to find out. The drive to the valley was tense. Jake kept the radio off, his knuckles white on the wheel. I stared out the window, watching the forest blur by, trees like skeletal hands clawing at the sky, snow piling up in drifts that looked like graves. We parked a mile out, geared up, and hiked in. The air was colder than I remembered, a dry, biting chill that stung my lungs and turned my fingers numb. The ravine loomed ahead, a gash in the earth that seemed deeper, darker, like it had grown since I'd last seen it. You sure about this? Jake asked, his breath fogging the air. No, I admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. We descended, boots crunching on frost, the sound echoing off the ravine walls like gunfire. The trail was narrower than before, the rocks sharper, slick with ice that gleamed like wet bone. Every step felt like a dare, a taunt to whatever waited below. Jake took point, his .45 drawn, while I kept the shotgun ready. The silence was suffocating, no birds, no wind, just our breathing and the brittle snap of frozen earth. Halfway down, Jake stopped. "You smell that?" he whispered. I did. A faint, sour tang, like meat left to rot in the sun. It hit the back of my throat, thick and cloying, making my eyes water. We pressed on, the smell growing stronger, until we reached the spot where I'd seen him. The trail widened into a small clearing, and there it was, a pile of bones, deer maybe, picked clean and scattered like a child's broken toys. The ribs were snapped, marrow sucked dry, and the skull had teeth marks, human-sized. Jake cursed under his breath. "This ain't right," he said, scanning the trees. "No shit," I replied, my voice shaking. That's when we heard it, a low, guttural chuckle, rolling out of the shadows like thunder. He stepped into view, the Raggedy Man, AR-15 still in his hands. But he wasn't alone. Behind him, shapes moved, tall, thin, draped in rags that fluttered like tattered wings. Their eyes glowed just like the cam footage, a sickly yellow that cut through the dusk. Jake raised his gun. "Stay back," he barked. The Raggedy Man grinned, a crooked slash of cracked lips and missing teeth. "You shouldn't have come back," he rasped, voice like gravel dragged over glass. The shapes behind him shifted closer, and I saw their hands, long, claw-like, stained red. I didn't think. I fired. The shotgun roared, buckshot tearing into the nearest figure. It staggered, black blood spraying the snow, but didn't fall. Jake opened up with the .45, bullets ripping through the air, and chaos erupted. They moved fast, too fast, darting between the trees, their laughter a jagged symphony. I caught glimpses. Hollow faces, mouths stretched wide, teeth like splintered wood. We ran, stumbling up the trail, shots echoing behind us. Something grabbed my ankle. Cold, wet, impossibly strong. I swung the shotgun like a club, felt it connect, heard a wet crunch. It let go, and I kept running. Jake's curses, a lifeline in the dark. We made it to the truck, barely. Jake floored it, tires spinning on ice. And we didn't stop until we hit town. The rearview mirror showed nothing but snow and trees. But I knew they were still there, watching, waiting. We crashed into town like a couple of shell-shocked grunts fresh off a battlefield. Jake's truck screeched to a halt outside the sheriff's office, tires kicking up slush that splattered the curb like dirty blood. My hands were still shaking, shotgun propped between my knees, barrel cold against my jeans. Jake's face was a mask of sweat and fury, his .45 still clenched in one meaty fist. "What the fuck was that?" he snarled, slamming the door shut behind him. I didn't have an answer, just a pit in my stomach that kept growing, swallowing every rational thought I had left. Inside, Sheriff Daniels was sipping coffee, feet up on his desk like we'd interrupted his nap. I laid it all out, the valley, the bones, the Raggedy Man, those things with claws and teeth. Jake backed me up, voice low and tight, every word a bullet. Daniels listened, his bushy brows knitting together, but his eyes didn't match. They were too calm, too steady, like he'd heard this song before and knew the chorus by heart. "You boys been drinking?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. I wanted to punch him. Jake beat me to it, slamming his fist on the desk so hard the coffee mug jumped. "Does this look like a fucking hangover?" he roared, pointing at the blood smeared on his sleeve. Black, sticky, not ours. Daniels sighed, rubbed his temples like we were the world's biggest headache. All right. I'll send a deputy out tomorrow. Weather's turning though. Might take a day or two. Tomorrow. A day or two. I stared at him, the gears in my head grinding. I'd reported the Raggedy Man days ago, and he'd said the same damn thing. We'll check it out. Nothing had come of it. No patrol, no questions, no nothing. You didn't go last time, did you? I said, voice flat. He froze just for a second, but it was enough. Been busy, he muttered, looking away. Busy. Right. Busy covering up whatever the hell was rotting in that valley. We left. Jake muttering curses that'd make a sailor blush. Outside, the snow was falling harder. Fat flakes that stuck to my jacket and melted into icy rivulets down my neck. The cold was a living thing now, wrapping around me, squeezing. He's hiding something, I said, watching Daniels through the window as he picked up the phone. Jake nodded, lighting a cigarette with hands that barely steadied. Yeah, and I don't trust him to wipe his own ass, let alone handle this. We agreed to dig ourselves. If the sheriff wouldn't help, we'd find the truth, or die trying. Spoiler alert, the dying part's looking more likely. Jake knew a guy, some crusty old librarian named Marjorie, who worked at the County Historical Society. She's a nutcase, he warned as we drove over, but she knows every dirty secret this town's buried. Perfect. I needed a nutcase. My sanity was already circling the drain. The society was a crumbling brick building, windows fogged with age, the air inside thick with dust and the sour tang of mildew. Marjorie was a tiny woman, all wrinkles and wild grey hair, eyes sharp as broken glass. She took one look at us, me twitchy, Jake hulking, and grinned like we were Christmas morning. Trouble, huh? She croaked. I can smell it on you. I spilled the story, minus the part where I nearly shit myself. She didn't blink, just shuffled to a back room and returned with a stack of yellowed files, newspaper clippings, and a leather journal so old it looked like it'd crumble if you breathed on it. That valley's been bad news since before my gran was born, she said, tapping a bony finger on the pile. Folks go missing there. Hunters, hikers, kids. Started in the 1800s. Lumberjacks vanishing. Blamed wolves, then Indians, then nothing. Just gone. She slid a clipping across the table. 3 men lost in ravine. Search abandoned. Dated 1897. Another. Hunter found mutilated, no suspects. 1953. The journal was worse. Some trappers' ravings about pale things in the woods, eyes like lanterns, and a man who watched but never spoke. My mouth went dry. Jake flipped through the pages, his jaw tightening with every word. This is our guy, I whispered, pointing at the trapper's sketch. A crude drawing of a gaunt figure in rags, holding a spear. No AR-15 back then, but the vibe, dead on. Marjorie leaned in, her breath sour with old coffee. He's not alone, she said. Never is. They say the valley's a door. Something came through a long time ago, and it brought friends. Feeds on fear, blood, whatever it can get. She paused, smirking. You boys stirred it up good, didn't you? I wanted to laugh, hysterical, unhinged laughter, but it stuck in my throat. Jake wasn't smiling either. How do we stop it? He asked. Marjorie shrugged. You don't. You run, or you die. Great. Super helpful. We left with the journal and a photocopy of the clippings, my head spinning. A door. Pale things. This wasn't just some psycho with a gun. This was bigger, older, and a hell of a lot uglier. Christmas Eve. And I'm not decking the halls. I'm barricading them. Jake crashed at my place, both of us too wired to split up. The cabin was a fortress now. Windows boarded, doors reinforced, every light blazing. We pored over Marjorie's stash, piecing together a nightmare timeline. Missing people every decade, always near that valley. Bodies found torn apart or not found at all. Whispers of a watcher who led the lost to their doom. The trapper's journal mentioned a ritual, blood and fire to close the door. But half the pages were missing, torn out like someone didn't want it finished. Around midnight, the power flickered, then died. The cabin plunged into dark, the silence so thick it pressed against my eardrums. Jake grabbed his .45. I clutched the shotgun. Outside, the snow glowed faintly under a sliver of moon, casting jagged shadows across the yard. "You hear that?" Jake whispered. I did. A low hum, like a hive waking up, coming from the trees. Then footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Slow, deliberate, circling the house. My trail cam beeped, still running on battery. I checked the feed. There he was, the Raggedy Man, standing at the tree line, AR-15 slung over his shoulder. Behind him, those shapes, dozens now, their glowing eyes like a swarm of fireflies. "Shit," Jake breathed. "We're fucked." I didn't argue. The hum grew louder, vibrating in my chest, and then glass shattered. The back window exploded inward, claws scrabbling at the boards. I fired blind, the shotgun's roar deafening, and something screeched, a wet, gurgling sound that made my skin crawl. Jake unloaded his .45 through the gap, bullets punching holes in the dark. "Reloading," he yelled. I covered him, pumping shells into the night, black blood splattering the floor. They kept coming, relentless, their laughter a razor slicing through my skull. Then the front door buckled, not broke, buckled, like something massive hit it. Jake spun, firing, but I saw it first. A shadow taller than the rest, no eyes, just a gaping maw. It wasn't the Raggedy Man. It was worse. I grabbed Jake's arm. "We're leaving," I shouted, dragging him toward the back door. We burst outside, snow stinging my face, and ran for the truck. Headlights flared behind us, another vehicle roaring up the drive. Sheriff Daniels stepped out, shotgun in hand, face grim. "Get in," he barked. We piled into his cruiser, tires spinning as he peeled out. The cabin shrank in the rear view, swarmed by shapes that didn't move right. Limbs too long, bodies bending wrong. "You knew," I spat, glaring at Daniels. He didn't deny it. "Been keeping it quiet for years," he said, voice rough. "Thought it'd stay in the valley. You idiots woke it up." Jake lunged, grabbing his collar. "You let people die, you son of a..." Daniels shoved him off. "You don't get it. It's not just him. It's them. And they're pissed." The cruiser hit a patch of ice, skidded. Something slammed into the side. A claw raked the window, cracking it. Daniels floored it, but the road ahead was blocked. Figures in the snow, eyes glowing, waiting. "End of the line," Daniels muttered, chambering around. Jake grinned, feral. "Not yet." He kicked the door open, firing into the dark. I followed, shotgun blazing, and Daniels brought up the rear. It was chaos, blood, snow, screams. And then I saw him, the Raggedy Man, standing apart, watching, smiling. The air was a blizzard of snow and screams, the cruiser's headlights carving tunnels of light through the chaos. Shadows loomed ahead, tall, jagged silhouettes with glowing eyes, their claws glinting like wet knives. Jake was a machine, washing .45 barking in his hand, each shot a thunderclap that split the night. I pumped the shotgun, shells ripping through the dark, black blood spraying the snow in arcs that steamed and hissed. Daniels fired too, his own shotgun steady, but his face, God, his face, was a mask of resignation, like he'd seen this movie before and knew the ending. One of them lunged, a wiry thing with arms too long, mouth gaping like a split melon. I caught it mid-air, buckshot shredding its chest. It hit the ground thrashing, a gurgling wail bubbling from its throat, black ichor pooling beneath it. Jake took down another, bullet punching through its skull, but they kept coming. Too many, too fast. "We're out of road," Daniels yelled, voice hoarse over the wind. He was right. The cruiser was pinned, front bumper kissing a snowbank, rear blocked by a fallen pine. The Raggedy Man stood back, AR-15 slung casually, watching like a conductor savoring his symphony. "Fuck this," Jake roared, kicking the passenger door wider. He grabbed a flare from the glove box, lit it with a hiss, and hurled it into the snow. The red glow erupted, bathing the scene in a hellish light, dozens of them circling, their ragged forms flickering like ghosts. "Move," he barked, dragging me out. Daniels followed, reloading as he ran, but his eyes darted sideways, scanning the trees. I should have noticed, should have seen it coming, but I was too busy not dying. We bolted down the road, boots slipping on ice, breath ragged in the freezing air. The flare's light faded behind us, but the laughter didn't. Sharp, jagged, slicing through the storm. Something grabbed my coat, a claw, cold as death, yanking me back. I swung the shotgun butt first, felt it crack against bone, and stumbled free. Jake fired over my shoulder, a deafening boom, and the thing shrieked, retreating. "Keep going," he shouted. But Daniels lagged, his step slowing. "Come on, asshole," I yelled. He didn't answer, just stopped, turned, and raised his gun. Not at them, at us. The barrel stared me down, a black eye promising oblivion. "Sorry, boys," Daniel said, voice flat. "You're the bait." Jake lunged. "You motherfucker!" But the shot cut him off. Not from Daniels, from the trees. A crack of rifle fire, and Jake staggered, blood blooming on his chest, dark and wet. He hit the snow hard, 45 skittering away, eyes wide with shock. I screamed, wordless, raw, diving for him as Daniels fired into the dark, covering his retreat. The pack surged forward, claws and teeth flashing, but they didn't come for me. Not yet. They went for Jake. I dragged him back, his weight dead in my arms, blood soaking my gloves. "Stay with me, man," I choked, but his breaths were shallow, gurgling. The Raggedy Man stepped closer, boots crunching, his grin a slash of rot. "Good meat," he rasped, nodding at Jake. I fired. The shotgun clicked empty, useless. I threw it, caught him in the chest, and he laughed, a wet, hacking sound that echoed off the ravine walls. The pack closed in, and I ran. Coward. Maybe. But I wasn't dying there. Not yet. Christmas morning. No presents, no carols. Just me, holed up in an abandoned gas station 10 miles from town, shivering under a moth-eaten blanket that smelled like diesel and despair. Jake's blood was still on my hands, crusted and flaking, a tattoo of failure I couldn't scrub off. The station was a relic. Rusted pumps, shattered windows, a counter littered with faded receipts, and a half-eaten candy bar some poor bastard never finished. The wind howled outside, rattling the walls, and every gust sounded like that laughter. I'd lost my shotgun, my truck, my friend. All I had left was the trapper's journal, clutched like a lifeline, and a dull hunting knife I'd found under the counter. Daniel's betrayal burned worse than the cold. Bait. He'd sold us out, fed Jake to those things to save his own skin. Why? What did he owe them? I flipped through the journal, pages brittle under my numb fingers, searching for answers. The trapper's words blurred. The watcher guards the door, blood keeps it shut. Fire wakes it, until I hit a sketch. A crude map, the valley marked with an X, and a note. The pit, where they sleep. A pit. In the ravine. Something clicked. Those bones, the smell. It wasn't just a hunting ground. It was a nest. I should have run. Should have hitchhiked south and never looked back. But Jake's face, pale, pleading, haunted me. And Daniel's. That bastard was still out there, playing hero while I hid like a rat. I couldn't let it stand. I tore a strip from the blanket, wrapped the knife to my belt, and stuffed the journal in my coat. The pit. If it was real, if it was their heart, maybe I could end this, burn it, bleed it, whatever it took. Merry fucking Christmas to me. The trek back was hell. Snow stung my face, wind clawing at my skin, the forest a maze of white and shadow. Every snap of a branch had me spinning, knife out, expecting those glowing eyes. They didn't come, not yet. Maybe they were full, maybe they were waiting. The valley loomed by dusk, a black moor swallowing the horizon. I descended, legs aching, the sour rot smell thickening until it coated my throat. The clearing was there, bones still scattered, but now, fresh tracks, bare feet, dozens, leading deeper in. I followed, heart pounding, until the ground dipped, a sinkhole 10 feet wide, edges slick with ice and blood. I peered over. Darkness stared back, a void that pulsed with that hum I'd heard before. Something moved down there, slow, deliberate, like a snake uncoiling. Then a voice, not the Raggedy Man's, deeper, older, rumbled up. You brought us meat. Now you bring us more. My blood froze. They knew. They'd planned this. Daniels hadn't betrayed me. They'd used him. Used us all. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. The pit's voice lingered. A worm in my brain, gnawing at what little courage I had left. Dawn broke grey and weak, snow falling in sheets that blurred the world. I rigged a torch, gas-soaked rags from the station, tied to a branch, and lit it. The flame sputtered, spitting embers, but it held. Fire wakes it, the journal said. Fine. Let it wake. Let it burn. I climbed down. Rope from the gas station looped around a tree, torch in one hand, knife in the other. The pit swallowed me, walls slick with frost and something darker, streaks of black that smelled like death. The hum grew, vibrating in my bones, and the air thickened, heavy with rot and damp. My boots hit bottom, crunching on something soft, bones, feathers, scraps of cloth. A tunnel stretched ahead, low and narrow, carved from rock and despair. I crawled, torchlight flickering, shadows dancing like they were alive. The tunnel opened into a chamber, a cavern of ice and stone, stalactites dripping red. In the center, a mound of flesh and rags, pulsing, breathing. The Raggedy Man sat atop it, AR-15 across his lap, grinning. Around him, the pack, dozens, maybe hundreds, knelt, eyes glowing, mouths dripping black. Welcome home, he rasped. The mound shifted, split, revealing a face, not human, not anymore, jaws wide, eyes blind and milky. The voice boomed again. Feed us. I threw the torch. It hit, flames roaring, and the chamber erupted. Screams, fire, chaos. The Raggedy Man lunged, claws raking my arm, but I drove the knife into his chest, twisting until he gurgled and fell. The mound writhed, burning, its wails shaking the walls. I ran, tunnel collapsing behind me, fire chasing my heels. I climbed, lungs burning, and broke surface as the pit caved in, a roar of earth and rage swallowing the dark. I stumbled away, bleeding, alive. The valley was silent, too silent. I staggered out of the valley, half dead, arm torn and bleeding from the Raggedy Man's claws. The snow was a red-streaked mess behind me, the pit's collapse a dull rumble fading into silence. My torch was gone. knife lost in that thing's chest, and the journal, crumpled but intact, stuffed in my coat. The forest was quiet, too quiet, the kind of hush that presses on your eardrums and makes every breath feel stolen. I made it to the road, legs trembling, and hitchhiked back to town in the bed of a rusted pickup. The driver, an old guy with a face like cracked leather, didn't ask questions. Smart man. Back at the gas station, I patched myself up. Duct tape and whiskey, the survivalist's first aid kit. The mirror showed a stranger. Hollow eyes, blood-caked beard, a gash across my forearm oozing despite my efforts. I looked like roadkill that had crawled back to life. Funny, right? If I didn't laugh, I'd scream, and I was too damn tired for that. The wind picked up outside, rattling the station's broken windows. And with it came a sound, a low, keening whisper, like voices arguing in a language I couldn't grasp. It wasn't the storm, it was them. I'd pissed them off, and they weren't letting me walk away. I grabbed the journal, flipped to the trapper's map. The pit was marked, now a smoking ruin. But there was another X, smaller, fainter, near the ravine's edge. No notes, just a scribbled word. Source. My gut twisted. The pit wasn't the heart, it was a nest. The real evil was still out there, and I'd just kicked the hornet's nest. Daniel's words echoed. You woke it up. Yeah, well, I wasn't done waking things. He'd fed Jake to those bastards, and I owed him a reckoning. I tore a page from the journal, scrawled a note, find the source, and taped it to the counter. If I didn't make it back, someone might. Probably not, but hope's a stubborn bitch. I hit town at dawn, limping into a diner that smelled like burnt coffee and greasy bacon. The waitress, a tired woman named Carol, gave me a once-over and slid a mug my way. Rough night? She asked, voice flat. Rough lie, I muttered, downing the coffee like it was salvation. I needed a gun, a plan, and Daniel's head on a spike. Step 1, the hardware store. Step 2, find the bastard. Step 3, improvise. I was on step 1 when the door jangled, and in walked a ghost. Jake. He stood there, alive, chest stained with dried blood, eyes glassy but burning. The diner went silent, forks clattering, Carol gasping. Hey man, he said, voice rough as gravel, a faint smile tugging his lips. I froze, coffee spilling over my hand, scalding my skin. You're dead, I stammered. He shrugged, casual as hell. Was. Got better. He pulled his shirt aside, bullet hole sealed, flesh puckered and black, like something had stitched it shut from the inside. My brain short-circuited. What the fuck? I whispered. He leaned in, breath cold, smelling of rot. They brought me back. Said I'm theirs now. Said you're next. I bolted, chair crashing, out the back door into an alley slick with ice. Jake followed, slow, deliberate, boots crunching. Don't run, he called, almost pleading. Makes it worse. I didn't listen. I ran, lungs burning, until I hit the hardware store, barricading myself inside. The clerk, a kid with acne and a bad haircut, stared as I grabbed a machete, a propane torch, and a box of shells for a shotgun I didn't have yet. You okay, mister? He squeaked. Do I look okay? I snapped, tossing cash on the counter. He didn't argue. Outside, Jake was gone, but the whispers weren't. They followed me, weaving through the wind, a chorus of hate and hunger. I hitched a ride to the valley's edge, armed with my makeshift arsenal, the trapper's map trembling in my hands. The source. If Jake was back, changed, then whatever lived there was stronger than the pit, stronger than me. But I wasn't running, not anymore. The ravine loomed under a sky-bruised purple, snow falling in thick, suffocating sheets. I descended again, machete in one hand, torch unlit in the other. The whispers a constant drone now, louder, angrier. The air was heavy, wet with rot and something sweeter, like decaying flowers. The map led me past the pit's ruins, smoking, silent, to a crevice in the ravine wall, hidden behind a curtain of ice. I hacked through, blade biting deep, until it gave way, revealing a tunnel, narrow, jagged, sloping down into dark. I lit the torch, flame hissing, and crawled in. The walls glistened, slick with frost and blood, streaked with claw marks that stretched deeper than my arm. The hum was deafening here, a pulse that shook my teeth. And the smell, God, the smell, was a punch of death and sweetness clogging my lungs. The tunnel widened into a chamber, and I saw it, the source. A pool of black liquid, shimmering like oil, bubbling slow and thick. Around it, bones, human, animal, piled high. And above, a figure carved into the rock. Tall, eyeless, arms spread, mouth a gaping scream. The whispers stopped. The pool rippled, and Jake stepped out, naked, skin grey, eyes glowing yellow. "Told you not to run," he said, voice echoing, not his own. I raised the machete. "You're not Jake." He grinned, teeth sharp now, black. "I'm better." He lunged, fast, too fast, and I swung, blade catching his arm. Black blood sprayed, but he didn't flinch, tackling me to the ground. The torch rolled, flame guttering, and I stabbed over and over, his laughter bubbling through the wounds. Then the pool moved. A hand, huge, clawed, burst from it, followed by another, dragging a body up. Massive, eyeless, the thing from the carving. It towered, dripping black, mouth splitting wider, and spoke. "You woke us. Now you join us." Jake pinned me, claws at my throat. As he reached down, fingers cold and wet brushing my face, I screamed, thrashing, and ignited the torch, flame roaring into Jake's side. He shrieked, releasing me, and I swung the machete at the thing, blade sinking into its arm. It roared, the chamber shaking, rocks falling. I ran, torch blazing, tunnel collapsing behind me. The source's wail chased me, a sound of pure rage, and I broke surface, collapsing in the snow. The crevice sealed, buried under ice and stone. But the whispers didn't stop. They were in my head now, soft, insistent. "You can't run forever." The valley spat me out, but it didn't let me go. I stumbled through the snow, torch gone, machete lost in that hellhole. The trapper's journal a crumpled mess in my pocket. My arm throbbed. The gash from the Raggedy Man's claws, weeping blood that froze in dark streaks down my sleeve. The wind was a banshee, howling through the trees, carrying those whispers, soft, insistent. "You can't run forever." Oh, I could try. I'd been running since Jake's blood stained the snow, since Daniel sold us out, since I saw what crawled from that pool. But my legs were lead, my lungs fire, and every step felt like a plea to just lie down and let it end. I made it to a logging road, a muddy scar cutting through the forest, and flagged down a rig, a battered semi-hauling timber, its driver a grizzled guy named Pete with a beard like steel wool. "You look like shit," he grunted, eyeing my bloodied coat. "Feel like it too," I shot back, climbing in. The cab smelled of cigarettes and pine, a faint comfort against the rot still clinging to my nose. Pete didn't ask much, just handed me a thermos of coffee that tasted like tar and burned my throat. I drank anyway, staring out the fogged window as the forest blurred by, shadows flickering between the trees. Were they moving? Or was my mind cracking like ice underfoot? He dropped me at the edge of town, near a motel, a squat, neon-lit dump called the Pine Rest. I checked in, cash only, No questions. The clerk barely glanced up from his phone, just slid me a key and muttered, "Room 7's quiet." Quiet. Right. I locked the door, shoved the dresser against it, and collapsed on a bed that sagged like a corpse. The room was a time capsule. Faded wallpaper peeling like skin, a TV that buzzed but showed nothing, a mirror streaked with grime. I avoided it, didn't want to see what I'd become. Sleep hit hard, a black wave pulling me under. Dreams came, Jake's face, grey and grinning, eyes glowing, the Raggedy Man's laugh echoing off stone. That eyeless thing reaching, his voice a rumble in my chest. "Join us." I woke gasping, sweat soaking the sheets. The whispers loud now, not outside, but inside. My head throbbed, a dull pulse behind my eyes, and I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing water on my face. The mirror caught me then, pale, gaunt, eyes sunken. For a second, I swore they flickered yellow. I blinked, normal again, just exhaustion, right? Right? Then the phone rang. The room's ancient rotary, dust-caked and silent until now. I stared, heart hammering, as it shrilled again. I picked it up, hand shaking. Static crackled, then a voice. "Daniels." "You're a hard man to kill," he said, low and rough. "Where are you?" I snarled, gripping the receiver so hard my knuckles whitened. He chuckled, dry as dead leaves. "Close. You didn't finish it, did you? It's awake now, and it's coming." The line went dead. I slammed the phone down, breath ragged, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps outside, slow and heavy, crunching the gravel. I peeked through the blinds, slivers of neon cutting the dark. A figure stood under the motel sign, tall, broad, shadowed. Jake, or what was left of him. His head tilted, eyes glinting yellow, and he raised a hand, slow, deliberate, like a wave. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my gear, the propane torch, a lighter, a tire iron I'd swiped from Pete's cab, and bolted out the back window, glass shattering behind me. The night swallowed me, cold biting my lungs, snow crunching underfoot as I ran for the trees. He followed. I heard him, boots thudding, breath rasping, a low hum trailing like a predator's purr. The forest was a maze, branches clawing my face, roots snagging my boots. The whispers grew, a chorus now. Hours, 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 and I ran blind, torch unlit, tire iron clutched like a prayer. A clearing opened ahead, moonlight pooling on the snow, and I skidded to a stop. Jake stepped out, blocking my path, skin grey and cracked, blood crusted around that black-sealed wound. "Stop running," he said, voice a hollow echo. "It's easier if you don't." I lit the torch, flame roaring to life, and swung it. He dodged faster than human, claws raking the air where I'd stood. "You're not Jake," I shouted, swinging again. He laughed, sharp, wet, and grabbed the tire iron, wrenching it free, metal bending in his grip. "I'm more," he hissed, lunging. I ducked, torch searing his arm, and he howled, black smoke curling from the burn. I ran again, deeper, the hum deafening now, vibrating in my skull. The trees thinned, and I hit a frozen creek, ice gleaming, cracked spiderwebbing under my weight. Jake closed in, relentless, and I slipped, torch flying, skittering across the ice. He loomed over me, claws poised. But then, headlights. A truck roared up, horn blaring, and Jake turned, distracted. I scrambled for the torch, relit it, and drove it into his chest. He screamed, a sound that split the night, staggering back, flames licking his skin. The truck stopped, door flying open, and a woman jumped out, mid-30s, wiry, shotgun in hand. "Get in," she barked, firing at Jake. Buckshot tore into him, black blood spraying, and he retreated, melting into the dark. I dove into the cab, gasping, as she floored it. "Who the hell are you?" I croaked. She glanced over, eyes hard, a scar slashing her cheek. "Name's Riley. Saw your note at the gas station. Been tracking these bastards since they took my brother." Her grip tightened on the wheel. "You're not the only one they've fucked with." Riley's truck was a beast, dented, rusted, packed with gear. Rifles, flares, a machete strapped to the dash. She drove fast, weaving through back roads, snow swirling in the headlights. "They don't die easy," she said, voice clipped. "Fire hurts them, but it's temporary. Source keeps them coming." I stared, journal trembling in my lap. "You know about the source?" She nodded, jaw tight. "Brother found it 2 years back. Went in, didn't come out. I've been hunting since." She pulled into a barn, hidden, crumbling, hay-strewn, and killed the engine. Inside was a war room, maps pinned to the walls, photos of missing people, a table littered with ammo and notes. "This is bigger than your valley," she said, tossing me a rifle. "It's spreading. More pits, more watchers. Daniels is their lapdog, feeds some stragglers to keep them quiet." My blood ran cold. "He's alive?" She smirked, bitter. "Oh yeah, saw him yesterday hauling ass out to town. Left you to die, didn't he?" I nodded, rage simmering. Riley handed me a photo. Daniels, younger, standing by the ravine, a gaunt figure beside him. The Raggedy Man. "Been at it for years," she said. "Family tradition, maybe. Or he's just a coward." I gripped the rifle, knuckles white. "Where is he?" She tapped a map. "Cabin, 10 miles north. Hiding, won't be for long." We geared up, rifles, flares, a jerry can of gas. The whispers were louder now, a buzz in my teeth, and my reflection in the barn's cracked window flickered again, yellow, just for a second. Riley caught it, eyes narrowing. "You're marked," she said flat. "It's in you." I swallowed, throat dry. "Can I fight it?" She shrugged. "Maybe. Kill the source. Might break it. Or you turn." Clock's ticking. The barn door rattled, claws scraping, a low laugh echoing. "Jake." Riley chambered around. "Happy New Year," she muttered, and we stepped out, guns blazing, into the dark. The barn door shuddered, claws raking wood, splinters flying like shrapnel. Jake's laugh slithered through the gaps. Low, wet, a sound that twisted my guts into knots. Riley didn't flinch, shotgun steady, her scar glowing faint in the flare's red light. "He's fast," she warned, voice sharp as the blade on her dash. "Aim for the head." I nodded, rifle trembling in my hands, the whispers buzzing like flies in my skull. "Ours, ours, ours." My reflection in the window flickered again. Yellow eyes, just a flash. I shook it off. Not yet. I wasn't theirs yet. The door buckled, and he burst in. Grey skin cracked, claws gleaming, a feral grin splitting his face. Riley fired, buckshot tearing into his shoulder, black blood spraying the hay. He staggered, laughing, and I squeezed the trigger. Bullet punching through his chest, right where the heart should have been. He didn't drop, just lunged, claws slashing, and I dove, rolling into a stack of crates. Riley swung her machete, blade biting his arm, and he howled, spinning on her. I grabbed a flare, lit it, and hurled it. Red flame arcing, hitting his back. Fire bloomed, searing his rags, and he shrieked, thrashing, a torch of black smoke and rage. "Out!" Riley yelled, kicking the back door open. We ran, snow stinging my face, the barn's glow fading behind us. Jake's screams chased us, shrill, inhuman, until they cut off, swallowed by the storm. The truck loomed ahead, engine rumbling, and we piled in, Riley flooring it. Tires spun, then caught, and we roared down the road, barn shrinking in the rear view, flames licking the night. "He'll be back," she said, reloading her shotgun one-handed. "They always come back." I gripped the rifle, breath ragged. "Then we find Daniels. End this." She glanced at me, eyes narrowing. "You're fading. Saw it in the window. How long you got?" I swallowed, throat dry. "Long enough," she snorted, a bitter laugh. "Hope so. Hate to put you down myself." Dark humor. Hers, mine, ours. It was all we had left against the dark, pressing in. The cabin was a speck on the map, 10 miles north, tucked in a hollow where the trees grew thick and twisted, branches clawing the sky like skeletal hands. Riley drove silent, jaw tight, the truck's heater blasting stale warmth that did nothing for the chill in my bones. The whispers were constant now, a hum behind my eyes, an itch I couldn't scratch. My arm ached, the gash crusted black, and every mirror I passed showed that flicker, yellow, hungry. I was running out of time, and Daniels was running out of places to hide. We ditched the truck a mile out, hiking in through snow that crunched like broken glass. The air was heavy, wet with pine and rot, a faint tang of smoke curling through it. The cabin emerged, log walls weathered grey, windows dark, a thin plume rising from the chimney. "He's here," Riley whispered, nodding at tracks, boot prints, fresh, circling the perimeter. I chambered around, heart pounding. "Let's make him regret it." We split, Riley flanking left, me right, creeping through the trees, shadows stretching long and jagged. The whispers spiked, a shrill buzz, and I froze. A shape moved inside, Daniels pacing, shotgun in hand. I signaled Riley, and she nodded, lighting a flare. She hurled it through a window, glass shattering, red light blooming. And Daniels cursed, loud and sharp. I kicked the door in, rifle up, and he spun, eyes wide, barrel swinging toward me. "You," he spat, firing. I ducked, shot grazing my shoulder, wood splintering behind me. Riley burst in from the back, tackling him, shotgun clattering. They grappled, her machete flashing, his fist swinging, and I lunged, slamming the rifle butt into his jaw. He crumpled, groaning, blood trickling from his lip. "Talk," I snarled, pinning him, barrel to his chest. "What's the source? Why Jake?" He laughed, weak, wet, spitting blood. "You think you won? It's older than us, older than this fucking dirt. I kept it fed, kept it down. You woke it, you dumb shit." Riley pressed her blade to his throat. "Where's it coming from now?" He glared, defiant, then sagged. "The lake, under the ice. Always been there." His eyes flicked to me, sly. "You're marked, boy. Feel it, don't you? It's in you." I slammed the rifle into his face again, knocking him out cold. "Tie him," I told Riley, hands shaking. She did, fast and tight, but her look said it all, doubt, sharp and cold. We dragged Daniels to the truck, bound and gagged, his blood staining the snow. The lake was 5 miles west, a frozen slab ringed by pines, ice gleaming under a moon that hung low and bloated. Riley drove, silent, her scar a stark line in the dashboard's glow. "He's right," she said finally, voice low. "You're changing. Saw it when you hit him. Your eyes." I gripped the journal, pages creasing. "I can fight it." She didn't reply, just handed me a flare. Better hope so. The lake loomed, a mirror of ice and shadow, wind whistling across it, carrying that hum, louder, deeper, a pulse in my chest. We hauled Daniels out, dumping him on the shore, his groans muffled by the gag. "Wake up," I snapped, kicking him. He stirred, eyes bleary, then focused, fear flashing as he saw the ice. No, he mumbled, thrashing. Not there. Riley smirked, dragging him closer. Oh yes, there. I lit a flare, red light bathing the ice, and saw it. Cracks, faint, radiating from the center, a dark stain beneath. The whispers roared, "Here, here, here," and the ice groaned, shifting. Daniel screamed, muffled, as Riley cut his bonds, shoving him forward. "Show us," she hissed. He stumbled, slipping, and the ice cracked louder, a gunshot snap. Black water bubbled up, thick and oily, and something moved. A hand, massive, clawing through, followed by a head, eyeless, gaping, the source reborn. I fired, bullets ripping into it, black blood spraying, but it kept rising, ice shattering. Daniels ran, slipping, and it grabbed him, claws sinking in, dragging him under. His scream cut off, water swallowing him, and the thing turned, blind face locking on me. "You," it rumbled, voice shaking the air. Riley threw the jerry can, gas arcing, splashing, and I lit the torch, hurling it. Flames erupted, a wall of fire, and it roared, thrashing, sinking back. The ice melted, steam hissing, and the lake went still, burning, silent, but the whispers didn't stop. They laughed now, soft and cruel, and my hands were grey, veins blackening. Riley stepped back, shotgun up. "You're out of time," she said, voice breaking. The lake burned, flames licking the ice, steam hissing like a dying beast. Daniels was gone, swallowed by black water and claws, and the source sank back, its roar fading into the night. But the victory tasted like ash. Riley stood there, shotgun leveled at my chest, her scar a stark slash in the firelight. "You're out of time," she'd said, voice cracking, and I couldn't argue. My hands were grey now, veins pulsing black under skin that felt too tight, too cold. The whispers laughed, soft mocking. Ours now, and my reflection in the melting ice showed yellow eyes, unblinking, staring back. "Put it down," I rasped, voice rough, not quite mine. "I'm still me." Riley's finger hovered on the trigger, eyes hard but wet. "Are you?" she asked, stepping closer. "Look at yourself. It's eating you." I did, raised my hands, saw the grey spread, nails lengthening, curling like talons. My breath fogged, sharp and cold, and the hum in my skull spiked, a scream I couldn't let out. "I can fight it," I said, more plea than promise. She lowered the gun, just an inch. "You'd better, 'cause I won't hesitate if you turn." We stumbled back to the truck, snow crunching underfoot, the lake's glow fading behind us. My arm throbbed, the gash from the Raggedy Man, now a black scar, pulsing like a second heart. Riley drove, silent, the heater's hum a frail shield against the coals seeping into my bones. The whispers didn't stop. Join us, feed us, and my vision blurred, edges yellowing. I gripped the journal, pages creased and blood-stained, searching for something, anything to stop this. The trapper's words swam. Blood wakes it, fire hurts it, the heart must bleed. The heart. The source wasn't dead, just wounded, and it was calling me home. Riley glanced over, catching my flinch as my hand twitched, clawing the seat. "Talk to me," she snapped. "What's it saying?" I swallowed, throat dry as dust. "Wants me back, wants me to feed it." Her jaw tightened. "Fight it, damn it. You're not its puppet yet." I laughed, weak, bitter. "Yet, great pep talk. Should have brought pom-poms." She didn't smile, just handed me a flask. "Drink. Keeps you sharp." Whiskey burned down my throat, a fleeting warmth, but the whispers laughed louder, drowning it out. We holed up in an old hunting shack Riley knew. Walls sagging, roof leaking, a wood stove spitting smoke that stung my eyes. She rigged traps, tripwires with flares, gas cans at the doors, while I sat, rifle across my lap, staring at my hands. The grey was spreading, slow but relentless, up my wrists, veins stark against skin that felt like ice. My reflection in a cracked shaving mirror on the wall was worse. Eyes yellow, pupils slitting, teeth sharpening when I bared them. "Shit," I muttered, smashing it with the rifle butt. Glass shattered, but the image lingered in my head. Riley crouched by the stove, feeding it logs, her scar catching the glow. "You're still you," she said, not looking up. "Focus on that," I snorted. "Easy for you to say. You're not turning into a fucking monster." She turned then, eyes fierce. "My brother did. Watched him change, claws, eyes, all of it. Put him down myself. Don't make me do it again." Her voice broke, just a hair, and I saw it, grief, raw and jagged, behind the steel. I nodded, throat tight. "I won't." The night stretched, wind howling, the shack creaking like it had collapsed. I dozed, rifle slipping, and dreamed. Jake's face, grey and grinning, leading me to the lake. The source rising, eyeless, its maw swallowing me whole. I woke to Riley shaking me, her hand cold on my shoulder. "You were growling," she said, shotgun ready, "in your sleep." My mouth tasted of blood. Bit my tongue, sharp now, metallic tang flooding my senses. "Sorry," I mumbled, wiping it on my sleeve. She didn't relax. "Don't be sorry. Be human." A snap outside. Tripwire. Flares popped. Red light flooding the shack, and claws scraped the walls. Riley fired through a window, buckshot echoing, and I grabbed the torch, lighting it. Shapes moved, fast, ragged, circling, laughing that jagged laugh. "They're back," she shouted, reloading. I swung the torch, flame catching a claw reaching through the door, and it shrieked, retreating. But the whispers spiked, "Come home." And my hand twitched, torch dropping, rolling. Riley grabbed it, glaring. "Focus, damn it!" I did, barely, firing into the dark black blood splattering the snow. They retreated, but the damage was done. Riley watched me, wary, as I slumped against the wall, breath ragged. "It's winning," I said, voice hollow. She didn't argue, just handed me the flask again. "Then we kill it first." Dawn broke grey and weak, snow piling against the shack. My hands were claws now, grey to the elbows, nails black and curved. The whispers were a roar. "Feed us, join us." And my head pounded, vision yellowing. Riley packed gear, rifles, gas, flares, her movements sharp, efficient. "Lake's the key," she said, taping the jerry can shut. "Daniels said it's under the ice. We blow it, end it." I nodded, sluggish, the journal falling open in my lap. "The heart must bleed." "Blood," I muttered. "Needs blood to stop it." She froze, staring. "What?" I pointed at the page, hand trembling. "Trapper's ritual. Fire hurts it, blood seals it. Mine, maybe." Her eyes narrowed. "You're not cutting yourself for this thing." I laughed, dry, cracked, already bleeding inside. Might as well use it. She didn't argue, just handed me a knife. Hers, sharp, bloodstained from her brother. "Your call. Don't fuck it up." We hit the lake at noon, ice gleaming, cracks wider now, black water seeping through. The hum was deafening, a pulse in my chest, and the whispers screamed, "Home, home, home." Riley rigged the gas, pouring it in a ring, while I stood at the edge, knife in hand. My reflection stared back, grey face, yellow eyes, a stranger wearing my skin. I slashed my palm, black blood welling, dripping, and the ice groaned, splitting. Riley lit a flare, tossing it, and flames roared, gas igniting a wall of fire. The source rose, massive, eyeless, claws raking the air, its roar shaking the earth. I threw the knife, blade sinking into its chest, black blood mixing with mine. It screamed, thrashing, and Riley fired, bullets tearing into it. I staggered forward, blood pouring, and it grabbed me, claws sinking in, cold and wet. Mine, it rumbled, pulling me down. I fought, clawing back, fire licking my skin, and Riley hurled the jerry can, gas exploding, engulfing us. The world burned, ice melted, and I fell. Black water swallowing me, whispers fading. Riley's scream was the last thing I heard. He's gone. That dumb bastard, brave, stupid, marked, threw himself into the fire and took the source with him. Or so I thought. The lake was inferno. Gas roaring, ice melting into black water that swallowed him whole. I screamed his name, voice raw, lost in the blaze, watching those claws drag him down, his blood mixing with the dark. The thing shrieked, a sound that split my skull, and sank, flames licking its eyeless face. Then, nothing, just steam, hissing like a dying snake, and a hole in the ice where he'd been. I stood there, shotgun dangling, snow soaking my boots, the cold biting deeper than it should have. My scar ached, old wound, new pain, and the wind carried a faint hum, mocking me. He'd said it needed blood, his blood, to seal it. The trapper's journal, crumpled, singed, lay on the shore where he'd dropped it, pages flapping like a wounded bird. I picked it up, hands shaking, and shoved it in my coat. "You better be right," I muttered, voice cracking. No answer, just the lake, still and black, a grave I couldn't dig into. The truck was a mile back, keys in the ignition, his rifle still on the seat. I drove, numb, the heater blasting stale air that smelled of him, sweat, blood, whiskey. My brother's face flashed, grey, clawed, eyes yellow before I put him down. Now, him. 2 ghosts, 2 bullets. I didn't fire in time. I laughed, sharp, bitter, the kind that hurts. Because what else do you do when the world's a meat grinder and you're next in line? The barn loomed ahead, my war room, and I crashed there, barricading the door, flare gun loaded by my side. Sleep didn't come easy. The hum lingered, faint but there, a tickle in my ears. Dreams hit, his face greying, grinning like Jake's. The source rising bigger, it's more a tunnel to nowhere. I woke to a snap, tripwire, outside. Grabbed the shotgun, heart pounding, and peeked through the slats. Snow swirled, shadows danced, but nothing moved. False alarm, or so I told myself. The journal sat on the table, open to that damn map. Pit marked, lake marked, and that faint X near the ravine's edge. Source. He thought the pit was a nest, the lake the heart. What if he was wrong again? Morning broke, grey and heavy, snow piling against the barn like a shroud. My hands were steady, scarred, calloused, but my gut churned, a warning I couldn't shake. The hum was louder, a buzz in my teeth, and the air felt wrong, thick, sweet, like rot masked with sugar. I checked the traps, intact, no tracks, and geared up. Shotgun, machete, flares, gas can. The lake was done, burned out, but the valley called, a pull I couldn't ignore. He'd missed something. I'd find it, for him, for my brother, for me. The drive was silent, radio dead, just the engine's growl and my breath fogging the windshield. The ravine loomed, a gash in the earth, ice gleaming on its walls. I parked, boots crunching as I descended, the hum growing, a pulse now, vibrating in my chest. The pit's ruins smoked faintly, collapsed stone and ash, but the crevice, the one he'd burned, was sealed, buried under snow and rock. I followed the map, machete hacking through brush, until I hit it. A hollow hidden behind pines, a crack in the ravine's base leaking black mist. I lit a flare, red light cutting the dark, and stepped in. The air was wet, heavy with that sweet rot smell, walls slick with frost and blood, fresh, dripping, pooling at my feet. The hum roared, a wave crashing in my skull, and I saw it, a shrine, crude, carved into stone, bones stacked, rags draped, a figure etched above, eyeless, arms spread, below a puddle, black, oily, alive, rippling slow. My stomach dropped. The lake wasn't the heart. This was. He'd burned a decoy, and I'd let him die for it. Something moved, fast, ragged, behind me. I spun, shotgun up and fired. Buckshot tearing into a shape that laughed low and wet. Jake, grey, burned, half his face charred, yellow eyes glowing. Missed me? He rasped, lunging. I swung the machete, blade catching his chest, black blood spraying, but he grabbed my arm, twisting, claws raking my sleeve. I kicked free, flare rolling, and lit the gas, flames roaring, catching his rags. He screamed, staggering, and I ran, tunnel shaking, rocks falling. I broke surface, gasping, the hollow collapsing behind me. But the hum didn't stop. It grew, and the snow shifted, cracks, spiderwebbing. A hand burst through, grey, clawed, followed by a face. His face, yellow eyes, grinning. "Riley," he whispered, voice mine but not. I froze, shotgun trembling, as he climbed out, blood dripping, the source's mark stark on his skin. He stood there, snow swirling, a twisted mirror of the man I'd fought beside, grey skin, black veins, claws curling, but his face, his damn face, was still him, twisted into a grin that wasn't his. "You're late," he said, voice a growl layered with whispers. "Ours, ours, ours." My finger tightened on the trigger, heart hammering. "You're dead," I spat. "Saw you go under." He laughed, sharp, jagged, stepping closer, boots crunching. "Dead's a suggestion. It likes me too much." I fired, buckshot ripping into his chest, black blood spraying, but he didn't flinch, just kept coming, claws slashing. I ducked, machete swinging, blade sinking into his arm. He howled, grabbing my wrist, twisting until the machete fell and pinned me against a tree, cold radiating from him. "You can't stop it," he hissed. Breath sour, eyes yellow pits. "It's awake, everywhere." The hum spiked, ground trembling, and I saw them, shapes in the snow, dozens, rising glowing eyes cutting the dark. I kneed him, hard, breaking free, and grabbed the flare gun, red streak arcing, hitting him square. Flames bloomed, searing his face, and he staggered, screaming, giving me a window. I ran, slipping, snow stinging my eyes, the truck a blur ahead. Shapes lunged, ragged, clawed, but I fired, shotgun roaring, carving a path. The engine roared to life, tires spinning, and I peeled out, his laugh chasing me, fading into the storm. The barn was my refuge, doors barred, flares lit. But the hum followed, a buzz in my skull, a weight on my chest. He was back, changed, theirs, and the source wasn't dead. It had played us, let him burn the lake to draw me here. I flipped the journal, hands shaking, and found it, a scrawl in the margin. The heart moves, blood binds it. One must fall. One must fall. Him, me. I laughed, dry, broken, because the joke was on us both. I remember the fire, hot, searing, a scream of light as the lake swallowed me. The source's claws sank in, cold and wet, pulling me down, black water flooding my lungs. I fought, clawing, choking, until the dark took me, a void of whispers and teeth. Then I woke, not dead, not alive, something else. The ice was above me, cracked and glowing, and my hands, grey, taloned, punched through, dragging me up. The air hit, sharp and bitter, and I laughed, a sound that wasn't mine, jagged and wet, echoing off the pines. My skin was cold, veins black, pulsing with something alive, something other. The whispers were me now, a hum in my skull, a song I couldn't shake. Feed us, grow us, bring us home. The lake was still, burned out, but the source wasn't gone. It was in me, a shard of its heart beating where mine used to be. I stood, snow crunching, and saw her, Riley, running, truck peeling out, a flare's red glow fading. She thought I was dead. Cute. I'd show her how wrong she was. The valley called, a pull in my gut, and I followed, fast, too fast, legs moving like they'd forgotten human limits. The hollow loomed, the real source, not that lake decoy, and I crawled in, claws scraping stone, the sweet rot smell thick and welcoming. The shrine glowed, black pool rippling, and it spoke. You're ours. Find her. Feed us. My reflection stared back, yellow eyes, sharp teeth, a grin I couldn't stop. I liked it. That's the kicker, isn't it? I liked it. I tracked her, scent sharp, blood and sweat on the wind. Back to that barn. She was fast, but I was faster, claws raking the door as she fired, flames licking my skin. It hurt. God, it hurt. But it didn't stop me. I laughed, lunging, tasting her fear as she swung that machete, blade biting deep. Fire flared, searing me, and I backed off. Not because I had to, but because I wanted her to run. The hunt's better when they think they've got a chance. The barn was a smoking husk by morning, Riley gone, tracks leading north. My arm throbbed, burned flesh peeling, but it knit, slow, black, the source stitching me up. The whispers sang, more, 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 and my stomach growled, a hollow ache that wasn't just hunger. It was need, raw, primal, clawing up my throat. I found a deer, grazing, stupidly calm, and I took it, claws tearing, teeth sinking, blood hot and sweet. It wasn't enough. It'd never be enough. I hit town, quiet, snowed in. Lights flickering in windows like scared eyes. The diner loomed, that greasy hole where I'd seen Jake, and I stepped in, bell jangling. Carol, the waitress, froze, mug slipping, shattering on the floor. You're dead, she stammered, backing up. I grinned, teeth sharp, voice low. Was. Got better. She screamed, running, and I let her. Her fear was a spice, thick and heady. A trucker, big, bearded, stood, knife out, shaking. Stay back, freak, he barked. I didn't. Claws flashed, blood sprayed, and he fell, gurgling, warm and wet on my hands. I fed, messy, loud, until the whispers purred, satisfied for now. Riley's scent lingered, faint, on the wind, and I followed, truck rumbling as I drove, her rifle bouncing on the seat. The road stretched, snow piling, and the hum grew, a beacon pulling me north. She'd found the journal, thought she could fight. Let her try. I'd show her what I'd become, what she'd made me. The source wasn't just in me, it was me, and I was it. A hunger with legs and claws, and a smile that split the dark. I caught her at a crossroads, truck parked, snow swirling, her silhouette sharp against the dusk. She'd rigged a trap, gas cans, flares, a ring of fire waiting to bloom. Smart girl. I stepped out, slow, deliberate, claws clicking on the ice. Riley, I called, voice a growl, hers but twisted. She spun, shotgun up, eyes wide, fear, hate, grief, all mixed. "You're not him," she spat, finger tight. I laughed, wet, cruel, spreading my arms. "More than him. Better." She fired, buckshot tearing into my chest, black blood spraying, but I moved fast, claws slashing her arm. She dropped the gun, swinging the machete, blade catching my shoulder, and I roared, grabbing her throat, lifting her. "You let me burn," I hissed. Breath cold, yellow eyes boring into hers. She choked, kicking, and lit a flare. Red flame searing my face. I dropped her, staggering, fire licking my skin. And she ran, slipping, blood trailing. The trap flared, gas igniting a wall of heat. And I lunged through, flames clinging, pain sharp but sweet. She reached the truck, engine roaring, and I grabbed the door, claws sinking in, metal screeching. "You can't run," I shouted, voice echoing, the whisper screaming, "Take her, take her." She floored it, dragging me, and I clawed the window, glass shattering, her scream loud and raw. A flare gun flashed, red streak hitting my chest, fire blooming, and I fell, rolling, snow hissing as it doused me. I rose, burned, grinning, her taillights fading. The hum pulsed, stronger, and my hands, claws now, fully, flexed, eager. She'd fight. Good. I'd hunt. Better. The source whispered. One was full, and I knew it wasn't me. Not yet. He's not him anymore. I knew it when he climbed out of that snow. Yellow eyes glowing, claws dripping my blood. The man I fought beside, stubborn, broken, human, is gone, swallowed by the source. And what's left is a monster, wearing his face. He's fast, strong, and he likes it. I saw it in that grin, sharp and cruel, as he smashed my truck's window, claws inches from my throat. I burned him, flare gun blazing, and drove, tires spinning, glass crunching, until the road swallowed his laugh. But he's coming. I feel it, a hum in my bones. A shadow I can't shake. The truck's a wreck. Window shattered, blood on the seat. But it runs, and that's enough. I hit a logging camp, abandoned, 10 miles north. Shack sagging, tools rusted, snow piling against broken walls. It's a fortress if I make it one. I parked, grabbed the gear, shotgun, machete, flares, gas cans, and got to work. Tripwires laced with nails, gas trails circling the perimeter, flares rigged to blow. If he wants me, he'll bleed for it. My arm throbbed, his claw marks weeping red. But I wrapped it tight, duct tape, my brother's trick, and kept moving. No time for pain. Not now. The camp smelled of damp wood and rot, wind whistling through gaps, a faint sweetness on the air. His mark, the source's stink. I found a shack with a loft, high ground, defensible, and hauled up, dragging the journal with me. Its pages were a mess, blood, ash, trapper's scrawl, but I read, fast, desperate. The heart moves, blood binds it. One must fall. One must fall. Him, me, or something else. The hum grew, a buzz in my skull, a pull to the valley, and I knew he was close. Too close. Night fell, snow glowing under a moon too bright. And I waited, shotgun loaded, machete by my side. The whispers started. Hours, hours, hours. Faint, taunting. And I gripped the journal tighter, nails digging into my palm. Then, a snap. Tripwire, south side. Flares popped, red light flooding the camp, and I saw him, grey, burned, claws gleaming, stalking through the snow. His laugh cut the air, wet, jagged, and I fired, buckshot tearing into his leg. He staggered, grinning, and kept coming, fast, too damn fast. He hit the gas trail, flames roaring, a ring of fire, and screeched, skin blistering but barreled through, claws raking a shack's wall. Wood splintered, nails flying, and I fired again, chest, head, black blood spraying, steaming in the snow. He laughed, louder, wilder, and leapt, claws sinking into the loft's edge. I swung the machete, blade biting his arm, and he roared, yellow eyes locking on mine. "Riley," he growled, voice his but not. "You can't win." I kicked, hard, sending him crashing down, fire licking his rags. The camp burned, smoke thick and choking, and I dropped to the ground, rolling, shotgun up. He rose, burned, bleeding, grinning, and lunged, claws slashing. I dodged, flare gun flashing, red streak hitting his face, flames blooming, and he screamed, clawing his eyes, giving me a second. I ran, gas can in hand, pouring a trail as I went, leading him to the center. A pit, old and deep, ringed with rusted spikes. He followed, relentless, the hum deafening. Take her, and I lit the trail, fire racing, catching him mid-step. He fell, flames engulfing, spikes piercing, black blood pooling. I stood, panting, watching him thrash, his laugh turning to a wail, shrill, inhuman, until he went still, fire crackling, smoke curling. The hum faded, whispers quiet, and I thought, hoped, it was over. Then the ground shook, a low rumble, and his hand twitched, claws flexing, yellow eyes flickering open. "Shit," I breathed, backing up. He climbed out, slow, burned, impaled, grinning wider. "Not yet," he rasped, voice layered with whispers. I ran, truck keys in hand, engine roaring, tires spinning as he staggered after me, claws dragging. The camp shrank in the rear view, fire glowing, his shape a shadow in the smoke. My arm bled, vision blurring, but I drove, north, anywhere, journal bouncing on the seat. One must fall. It wasn't him. Not yet. The hum returned, soft, patient, and I knew he'd heal, he'd hunt, and I was running out of traps. I hit a ranger station, old, boarded, a relic of summers past, 20 miles out, snow piling high. The door gave under my shoulder, wood splintering, and I barricaded it, desk, shelves, anything heavy. My arm was a mess, red seeping through tape, fever creeping, and I slumped, shotgun across my lap, journal open. The trapper's words mocked me. Blood binds it. And I saw my brother again, grey and grinning, claws at my throat before I shot him. Same eyes, same grin, same damn nightmare. A photo slipped from the journal, yellowed, creased. 2 men by the ravine, rifles raised, a deer strung up. Daniel's younger, and another, tall, scarred, my father's jawline. My breath caught, chest tight. "No," I whispered, flipping it. Scrawl on the back. Tom and Dan, 98, Valley Run. My dad, Tom, dead 10 years, lost on a hunt. Or so they'd said. Daniels had lied, fed me stories of bears, storms, anything but this. He'd known. He'd been part of it, feeding the source, binding it with blood. My family's blood. The hum spiked, a roar now, and glass shattered, a window buckling. I grabbed the shotgun, heart pounding, and he was there, grey, burned, half his face a blackened ruin, claws gleaming. "Found you," he growled, ripping the desk aside like paper. I fired, buckshot tearing his chest, but he lunged, pinning me, claws at my throat. "Family reunion," he hissed, nodding at the photo, yellow eyes glinting. "They all fall." I swung, fist, flare, anything, hitting his burned face, fire sparking, and he roared, loosening his grip. I rolled free, machete flashing, blade sinking into his leg, and ran, out the back, snow blinding, his laugh chasing me. The truck loomed, engine coughing, and I drove, fast, reckless, his shape fading in the storm. The hum pulsed, whispers laughing, "Yours, yours, yours." And I gripped the wheel, blood dripping, My father's face burning in my mind. The truck rattled, engine coughing, snow blinding as I floored it away from the ranger station. His laugh, wet, jagged, faded into the storm. But the hum stayed, a buzz in my skull, a chain pulling me back. My arm burned, claw marks seeping, fever spiking. And the photo trembled in my hand. Dad and Daniel's, rifles raised, the valley a blur behind them. Tom and Dan, 98, Valley Run. 10 years he'd been lost. Bear attack, they'd said. No body to bury. Lies. Daniels fed me lies while the source fed on him, on us. I swerved into a gas station, closed, pumps rusted. A ghost town under the snow. The truck died, steam hissing, and I stumbled out, shotgun slung, journal clutched like a lifeline. My breath fogged, sharp and cold, and the hum grew. A pulse now, vibrating in my chest. The whispers laughed. Yours, yours, yours. And I slammed the photo on the hood, staring at Dad's face. Scarred, hard, mine. What did you do? I hissed, voice breaking. No answer, just the wind howling like it knew. Inside I barricaded, counter against the door, shelves toppled, and dug into the journal, pages creasing under bloody fingers. Trapper's scrawl blurred. Blood binds it, the heart moves, but a note caught me, tucked in the back, ink faded. Tom saw it. 89. Took the oath. Blood for silence. My stomach dropped. 89. 9 years before the photo. A year before I was born. Dad didn't just hunt here. He served it like Daniel's. My blood, his blood, was the source's leash, and I'd been running straight into its jaws. A snap, outside, sharp, and I grabbed the shotgun, peeking through a crack. Snow swirled, shadows danced, and then him. Grey, burned, half his face a charred ruin, claws dragging as he circled, yellow eyes glinting. Riley, he called, voice a growl layered with whispers. Families waiting. I fired, buckshot tearing the air, but he dodged fast, claws slashing the wall, glass shattering. The hum roared, ground trembling, and I saw them, shapes rising, ragged, dozens, eyes glowing, closing in. I lit a flare. Red light flooding, shadows stretching, and fired again, shotgun roaring, black blood spraying the snow. He laughed, wild, cruel, and lunged, claws raking the door, wood splintering. I swung the machete, blade catching his arm, and he roared, grabbing my wrist, twisting. "You're late," he hissed, breath sour, eyes pits of yellow fire. I kneed him, breaking free, and ran, gas can in hand pouring a trail, leading him to the pumps. He followed, relentless, the pack behind him, ragged, clawed, laughing that jagged laugh. I lit the trail, flames racing, catching the pumps, and dove, explosion rocking the night, fire blooming, shrapnel flying. He screamed, shrill, inhuman, flames licking his skin, and the pack scattered, burning, wailing. I rolled, shotgun up, watching him thrash, half his body charred, claws scraping the ice. The hum spiked, more, and he rose, burned but grinning, yellow eyes locked on me. I ran, boots slipping, snow blinding, toward the valley, the only place left. The journal bounced in my coat, Dad's photo crumpled in my fist, and the hum pulled, a rope around my neck. The ravine loomed, ice gleaming, and I descended, slipping, falling, landing hard in the hollow's ruins. The shrine was there, bones, rags, black pool rippling, and a voice rumbled, not his. "Daughter." I froze, shotgun trembling, as a shape rose, not him, not the source. Tall, scarred, grey like him, but older. Eyes yellow, face my father's. "Dad," I choked, voice raw. He grinned, Sharp, wrong, claws flexing. Was, he rasped, voice layered with whispers. Now more. He stepped closer, snow crunching, and I fired, buckshot tearing his chest. But he didn't flinch, just laughed, low and wet. Blood binds us, he said, claws slashing. And I ducked, machete swinging, blade sinking into his leg. He roared, grabbing my throat, lifting me, and I saw it. Him, the other him, burned and grinning, joining the circle, the pack closing in. I fought, kicking, clawing, flare gun flashing, red streak hitting Dad's face, flames blooming. He dropped me, screaming, and I rolled, grabbing the gas can, pouring it wild, pool, shrine, everything. The burned one lunged, claws raking my back, blood hot, and I lit the flare, tossing it. Fire roared, shrine burning, pool igniting, and they shrieked. Dad, him, the pack, thrashing in the flames, black blood steaming. The hum turned to a wail. No, no, no. And the ground shook, cracks splitting, snow collapsing. I ran up the ravine, slipping, falling, fire chasing, heat searing my skin. The valley groaned, a roar of earth and rage, and I broke surface, stumbling, truck a blur in the distance. Shapes rose, grey, burned, relentless, claws dragging, eyes glowing, but slower, weaker. I reached the truck, engine coughing, and drove, fast, reckless flames shrinking in the rear view, their wails fading. The hum dulled, whispers quiet, and I thought, prayed, it was over. Then a hand, grey, clawed, burst through the seat, grabbing my arm, twisting. I screamed, swerving, and his face, burned, grinning, rose behind me, yellow eyes glinting. Not done, he growled, claws sinking in, blood dripping. I slammed the brakes, truck spinning, crashing into a tree, and he flew forward, smashing the windshield, rolling into the snow. I stumbled out, shotgun gone, machete lost, arm bleeding, vision blurring, his laugh echoing as he rose, slow, relentless. The valley burned behind us, smoke curling, and the hum pulsed, soft, patient. One must fall. It wasn't them. Not yet. The truck was a wreck, hood crumpled, windshield gone, and I stumbled out, snow soaking my knees, blood dripping from my arm, where his claws had sunk in. He rose, grey, burned, half his face a charred ruin, grinning that sharp, wrong grin, claws flexing as he stalked closer. The valley burned behind us, smoke curling thick and black. The hum a dull pulse now, patient, waiting. My shotgun was gone, machete lost in the hollow, and all I had left was the journal, crumpled, blood-stained, clutched in my shaking hand. Riley, he growled, voice his but layered with whispers. Hours, 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 stepping through the snow, claws dragging. No running left. I backed up, boots slipping, breath fogging sharp and cold. The photo of Dad and Daniels tumbling from my coat, landing face up in the red-streaked snow. Dad's face, scarred hard, stared back, and the hum spiked, a buzz in my skull, a call I couldn't shake. He laughed, wet, cruel, nodding at it. Family's here, join us. I froze, chest tight, the journal's words burning in my mind. Blood binds it. One must fall. My blood, Dad's blood, tied to the source, a leash it had used for decades. He lunged, fast, claws slashing, and I dove, rolling, grabbing a jagged branch, swinging it wild. It cracked against his arm, splintering, and he roared, grabbing my throat, lifting me. Stop fighting, he hissed, breath sour, yellow eyes glinting. It's easier. I clawed his face, nails raking burned flesh, blood black and hot, and he dropped me, staggering. I ran, stumbling, falling toward the ravine's edge, the hum roaring now. Home, home, home. The hollow was ash, shrine gone, but the ground trembled, cracks splitting, and a shape rose. Dad, grey and clawed, eyes yellow, grinning beside him. "Daughter," he rasped, claws flexing, and they closed in, slow, deliberate, snow crunching, whispers laughing. I gripped the journal, pages tearing, and saw it, a scrawl, faint, desperate. Blood to wake, blood to sleep, one falls, all fall. One falls, all fall. My blood could end it. Not bind it, but break it. I stood, back to the ravine, snow swirling, their claws gleaming in the moonlight. My arm bled, red mixing with black now, fever burning, and the hum was a scream. "Take her, take her!" He lunged, claws slashing, and I dodged, branch swinging, catching his jaw. Dad moved, fast, silent, and I ducked, his claws raking the air, breath cold and sweet with rot. "You're ours," he growled, voice layered with whispers, and I laughed, sharp, broken, because I'd heard that before. I tore the journal open, pages scattering, and found a knife, rusted, tucked in the spine, trapper's last gift. My hand shook, black veins creeping up my wrist, but I slashed my palm, blood welling, red and dark, dripping into the snow. The hum faltered. "No, no, no." And they froze, yellow eyes narrowing. "What are you doing?" he snarled, stepping closer. I grinned, wild, raw, raising the knife. Ending it, I stabbed, down, into my chest. Not deep, not fatal, but enough. Blood pouring, hot and thick, pooling at my feet. The ground shook, a roar splitting the air, and they screamed, shrill, inhuman, claws slashing wild. I fell, knees buckling, vision blurring, and the snow drank me, red and black swirling, the hum turning to a wail. Dad lunged, claws sinking in, tearing, and he roared, grabbing him, pulling him back. "Stop her," he barked, voice cracking, but the ground split, cracks racing, ravine collapsing, fire bloomed, deep from the earth, flames licking up, catching them, burning. They thrashed, Dad, him, the pack rising behind, black blood steaming, rags igniting, and I crawled, slow, weak, snow soaking my blood, the knife slipping from my hand. The hum died, silence, sharp and cold, and they fell, one by one, fire swallowing, ground closing. I collapsed, breath shallow, staring at the sky, grey, empty, whispers gone, hum gone, just the wind howling soft and free. I woke, alive somehow, snow crusted with blood, body aching, arm a mess of black and red. The ravine was a scar, collapsed, smoking, silent, no shapes, no claws, no yellow eyes. The journal lay beside me, torn, singed, photo of Dad and Daniel's half buried, their faces faded in the ash. My chest throbbed, knife wound shallow, bleeding stopped, and I laughed, weak, dry, because I'd done it. One falls, all fall. My blood broke the chain, burned the source, took them with it. I stood, shaking, slow, snow crunching under boots, the truck a wreck in the distance. My hands were mine again, grey fading, veins softening, though the scar stayed, black and jagged, a mark I'd carry. The valley was still, wind whistling through pines, and I walked, limping, breathing, away from the hollow, the lake, the past. The hum was gone, whispers dead, but a chill lingered, a shadow in my gut, a whisper I couldn't hear. I reached the road, thumb out, and a rig stopped. Old guy, beard like steel wool, same one who'd picked him up days back. "Rough week," he grunted, eyeing my bloodied coat. I smirked, faint, tired. "You've no idea." He didn't ask, just drove, and I leaned back, journal in my lap, snow blurring past. The valley was quiet, too quiet, and I wondered, prayed. It was over, but the scar itched, and my reflection in the window flickered. Just a second. Yellow, sharp, gone. I remember the fire, hot, searing, Riley's blood mixing with mine as the ravine burned, the source screaming through my skull. Her knife sank in, not deep, but enough, and the ground split, flames swallowing me, Dad, the pack, everything. The whispers died. No, no, no. And I fell, black and red swirling. A void of heat and silence. Dead, right? Buried under snow and stone. Gone with the hollow's collapse. That's what she thought. That's what I thought. But the dark doesn't let go that easy. I woke, claws flexing, grey skin cracking. Under a slab of ice and ash, the valley a smoking ruin above. My chest throbbed, her knife gone, wound sealed, black veins pulsing slow and steady. The hum was faint, a whisper now, not a roar. Ah still, ah still. And I laughed, wet, jagged, because I wasn't free. The source wasn't dead. It was me, a shard of it, alive in my bones, my blood, my grin. I clawed up, snow parting, and stood, burned, scarred, but whole. Yellow eyes glinting in the dusk. The valley was quiet, too quiet. Smoke curling through pines, the hollow a crater of charred stone. Riley's tracks stretched north, boots, blood, a limp, and I smelled her, sweat, fear, whiskey, faint but sharp on the wind. She'd won, hadn't she? Broke the chain, burned the heart, walked away. Cute. I'd show her how wrong she was. The hum pulsed, soft, patient, and my hands flexed, claws curling, hunger gnawing my gut. Not deer this time, not truckers. Her, I tracked her, fast, silent, snow crunching under claws, the valley fading behind me. The road loomed, tire marks fresh, and I found the rig's scent, diesel, tobacco, mixed with hers. She'd hitched out, thinking distance would save her. It wouldn't. The hum guided me. Find her, feed us. And I ran, legs stretching, forest blurring, a shadow on the wind. Town loomed, lights flickering, snow piling, and I slowed, claws clicking on asphalt, hunger sharp and sweet. The diner was there, greasy, familiar, and I stepped in, bell jangling, Carol freezing behind the counter. You, she gasped, mug slipping, shattering. Again, I grinned, teeth sharp, voice low. Missed me? She ran, screaming, predictable. And I let her, her fear a spice I didn't need. The cook, a burly guy, new, grabbed a cleaver, swinging wild. Get out, he barked. I didn't. Claws flashed, blood sprayed, and he fell, warm, wet. A snack I barely tasted. The hum purred. More. But I moved on. Riley's scent pulling north. A motel, pine rest, neon buzzing, caught my eye. Her truck a wreck in the lot, blood on the seat. She'd been here hours ago, maybe less. And I sniffed, claws scraping the door. Room 7. Empty now, but her smell lingered. Whiskey, blood, fear, and a note scratched on the wall. It's not over. I laughed, sharp, cruel, because she knew. She felt it. The source wasn't dead. It was me, and I was coming. I hit the road, fast, relentless, snow swirling, the hum a beacon. A rig loomed, old, rumbling, her scent thick, and I leapt, claws sinking into the trailer, metal screeching. The driver, beard like steel wool, swerved, cursing, and I smashed the window, glass shattering, claws raking his arm. He screamed, loud, raw, and the rig spun, crashing into a ditch, snow exploding. I climbed in, yellow eyes glinting, and he stared, wide, pale, mumbling, "What are you?" I grinned, claws flexing. Hungry, he was a mess, blood dripping, arm torn. But I didn't feed, not yet. Riley's scent was stronger, close, sharp, and I dragged him out, snow soaking his coat, his breath fogging fast and shallow. "Where?" I growled, claws at his throat. He choked, pointing north, trembling, pathetic. "Town. She said town." I dropped him, alive barely, and ran, claws digging ice, the hum roaring. "Take her, take her." Town loomed, small, snowed in, lights dim, and I slowed, stalking through alleys, shadows stretching long and jagged. Her scent hit, a house, old, boards creaking, and I saw her, window glow, silhouette sharp, shotgun in hand. She'd fortified, doors barred, flares rigged. But I was faster, claws raking the wall, wood splintering. She fired, buckshot tearing the air, but I dodged, leaping, smashing through glass, landing hard. She swung, machete flashing, blade biting my arm. And I roared, grabbing her wrist, twisting, pinning her. "Riley," I hissed, breath cold, yellow eyes boring in. No more running. She fought, kicking, clawing, flare gun flashing, red streak hitting my chest, flames blooming. I staggered, pain sharp, sweet, and she broke free, running, blood trailing. The house burned, flares popping, gas igniting, and I lunged through, fire licking my skin, claws slashing wild. She reached the street, slipping, falling, and I grabbed her, lifting, claws sinking in. "You can't win," I growled, the hum screaming. "Ours, ours, ours." She laughed, weak, raw, knife flashing, sinking into my chest, black blood spraying. I roared, staggering, dropping her, and she ran, limping, snow red behind her. The hum faltered. "No, no, no." And I fell, knees buckling, fire fading, yellow eyes dimming, just for a second. Her knife sank deep, cold steel twisting in my chest, black blood gushing, hot and thick, soaking the snow red and dark. I roared, pain sharp, raw, staggering, claws flexing, yellow eyes dimming as she slipped free, running, limping, a trail of her own blood behind. The house burned, flares popping, gas roaring, a wall of heat that licked my skin, searing the grey, cracking the black veins pulsing under it. The hum faltered. "No, no, no." A scream in my skull, and I fell, knees buckling, snow soft and cold, breath fogging fast and shallow, Riley's shape blurred, snow swirling, streetlights flickering, and I crawled, claws dragging, hunger gnawing even as the knife twisted deeper. The source was me, its shard, its heart, and she'd cut it, bled it, broke it. Or so she thought. I laughed, wet, jagged, because the pain was sweet, the hum was soft, and my hands, grey, clawed, still moved, slow but sure. She'd run to the valley, always the valley, and I'd follow. One last hunt. The ravine loomed, smoking, silent. A crater of ash and ice where the hollow once stood. I stumbled down, slipping, falling, claws scraping stone, blood dripping, pooling black in the snow. She was there, kneeling, shotgun gone, machete lost, journal open, her blood staining the pages, red and dark mixing with mine. "You're done," she rasped, voice raw, eyes hard but wet, grief, hate, exhaustion all tangled. I grinned, teeth sharp, cracked, crawling closer. Not yet. She stood, shaking, slow, knife in hand. The trapper's blade, rusted and bloodied. "One falls, all fall," she whispered, stepping forward, snow crunching. I lunged, claws slashing, weak but fast, and she swung, blade sinking into my throat, black blood spraying, hot and wet. I choked, gurgling, laughing, grabbing her wrist, pulling her down, snow soaking us both. "You too," I hissed, voice fading, claws sinking into her arm, blood mixing, hers, mine, ours. The hum screamed, "No, no, no." and the ground shook. Cracks splitting, fire blooming deep, flames licking up, catching my rags, her coat, burning us together. She fought, kicking, clawing, knife twisting, and I held tight, dying. Yellow eyes locked on hers, fading. The valley roared, earth collapsing, ash rising, and we fell, snow, fire, dark swallowing, the hum turning to silence, sharp and cold. I woke, alive somehow, snow crusted with ash, blood, mine, his, frozen in streaks around me. The ravine was gone, collapsed, a smoking pit, silent. No claws, no yellow eyes, no hum. My arm was a mess, claw marks black and jagged, chest throbbing where I'd cut myself, and the knife lay beside me, rusted, bloodied, still warm. He was ash, grey dust scattered in the snow, journal burned, pages curling in the wind. One falls, all fall. I'd done it, bled it out, broke the source, ended him, Dad, everything. I stood, limping, shaking, snow crunching under boots, breath fogging faint and slow. The valley was still, wind whistling through pines, smoke fading, and I walked north, away, scar itching, blood drying. A rig passed, old guy, steel wool beard, stopped, eyeing my coat, my scars. Need a lift, he grunted. I nodded, weak, tired, climbing in. Silence settling heavy. He drove, snow blurring, and I leaned back, empty, alive, watching the valley shrink, a shadow in the rear view. The scar pulsed, soft, faint, and my reflection flickered. Yellow, sharp, gone, just a second. I froze, breath catching, hand trembling, but the hum didn't come. The whispers stayed dead. You okay? He asked, glancing over. I smirked, dry, cracked. Been worse. He didn't push, just drove. And I stared out, snow falling, quiet stretching, praying it was over. But the itch stayed, a whisper I couldn't hear, a hunger I couldn't feel, buried maybe, but not gone. I found her notes, scratched in a diner napkin, tucked in a mailbox, weeks later, mailed to nowhere, stamped with blood and ash. Riley's gone, north, south, who knows, walking away from the valley, thinking she's free. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I'm ash, right? Burned, broken, buried under snow and stone. That's what she wrote, what she believes. But the dark's a liar, and I'm its tongue. I woke, days, weeks later, claws flexing, grey skin cracking, under a slab of ice in a pit that shouldn't exist. The valley's gone, collapsed, silent, but the hum's back, faint, patient. Our still. My chest throbbed, knife wound sealed, black veins pulsing, and I laughed, soft, wet, because she missed it. The source isn't dead. It's me, a seed, a whisper, waiting. She bled it out, broke the heart, but hearts grow back, don't they? I clawed up, snow parting, ash falling, and stood, burned, scarred, alive, yellow eyes glinting in the dusk. Her sense faint, north far, but I'll find her. The valley's quiet, too quiet, and the wind carries a hum, a call, a promise. One falls, all fall. She fell, bled, burned, but I rose, and the dark's not done. Not yet. I drove, hours, maybe days, snow blurring into a white void, the rig's heater humming a frail tune against the cold seeping through the shattered window. My arm was numb, claw marks crusted black, chest aching where I'd cut myself, and the scar pulsed, a faint itch I couldn't scratch. The valley was gone, burned, buried, a smoking scar in my rear view, and him with it, ash scattered in the wind, his laugh swallowed by the dark. One falls, all fall. I'd bled it out, broke the source, ended the chain, Dad, him, the whispers. All ash now, right? That's what I told myself, what I had to believe. The rig stopped, gas low, engine coughing. At a diner, same greasy hole where this nightmare started. The old guy, steel wool beard, grunted, climbing out. "You're a mess," he said, eyeing my coat, my scars. I smirked, dry, cracked, handing him the last of my cash. "Keep the change." He shrugged, walking off, and I stumbled in, boots dragging, blood flaking, Carol freezing behind the counter, mug slipping, shattering. "You again," she whispered, pale. I nodded, slow, tired, slumping into a booth. "Last time, promise." She brought coffee, black, bitter, hands shaking, and I drank, warmth burning my throat, chasing the chill that wouldn't leave. The journal was gone, burned with him, but the trapper's words echoed. Blood binds it. One falls, all fall. My blood ended it, mine and his, mixed in that fire, that collapse. And the valley was silent, the hum dead, the whispers gone. I'd won, barely, brokenly, but the scar itched, a faint hum I couldn't hear, a shadow in my gut. I shook it off, exhaustion, trauma, anything but truth, and stared out the window, snow falling soft and endless. A mirror hung across a room, cracked, streaked, and I avoided it, sipping slow until Carol's gasp pulled me back. "Your hands," she stammered, backing up. I looked, grey creeping up my fingers, veins blackening, nails curling sharp, and the coffee slipped, shattering, hot and wet on my boots. "No," I breathed, standing, staggering, the scar pulsing fast now, a hum rising. Hours still, soft, patient, alive. My reflection stared, yellow eyes, sharp teeth, a grin I couldn't stop, and I laughed, weak, raw, because I'd missed it. The source wasn't him. It was us, blood-tied, a curse that didn't burn. I'd fallen, bled, broke, but it rose in me, a seed planted deep, sprouting slow. The diner blurred, Carol screaming, running, and I stumbled out, snow stinging, wind howling, the hum a roar now, vibrating in my chest. My hands flexed, claws now fully, grey spreading, hunger gnawing, and I saw him, not ash, not gone, a shadow in the snow, grinning, waiting. "Told you," he whispered, voice mine, his ours. No running left. I ran, boots slipping, blood dripping, north, south, anywhere. But the valley pulled, a chain in my bones, and he followed, slow, relentless, claws dragging, yellow eyes glinting. The snow swallowed me, white, endless, and I fell, knees buckling, breath fogging, laughing, crying, the hum drowning everything. One falls, all fall. I'd fallen, bled it out, but it wasn't enough. The source took us both, him in fire, me in blood, and the valley won, quiet but alive, a whisper under the snow. The rig's lights faded, driver gone, diner dark, and I lay there, grey, clawed, eyes yellow, snow burying me slow, the hum soft now, a lullaby. Riley's gone, me, him, us, and the valley's silent, but silence lies. Check your scars, nightmares, mine still itching.